Alright, in this video I want to talk about the second beast in Revelation chapter 13. Now, I already went over pretty much every time I get into a prophecy of Daniel and Revelation about how that first beast is papal Rome. I'll go a brief little summation of it right now, where Rome collapsed, and like in Daniel, the iron becomes the feet of iron and clay. So Rome mixes with God's people, and when Rome fell, the Western Empire broke up into 10 regions with 10 kings, and then the Pope rose up, and 3 of those kingdoms refused to bow to the papal edict, and they destroyed those 3 kingdoms, the Visigoths, the Nerli, and I can't remember the third one. But those 3 kings were uprooted when the papacy came into power and was established when those 3 kings were taken out in 538 AD. They were saying they was given power to reign for 1,260 days, or 40 and 2 months, or 3.5 years, all of which add up to 1,260 years, which ended in 1798 when the first beast received a deadly wound, when Napoleon went in and arrested the Pope, which ended its authority, so that it doesn't have the same strength that it had when it was healed, and the Dark Ages ended. And that's when the second beast at that same time came up out of the earth. That's what we're going to read here. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." So a lot of this we haven't seen happen where we see it about to happen. So the first beast came up out of the sea. The sea represents multitudes of people. That's where papal Rome came up, out of a bunch of different peoples and tongues and what have you, and nations. And that's how it rose up. That's how that beast came up. And that's why it's also described as a woman that rises the beast, because it's also a church. It's combined church and state. The combined powers of the church and the state. That's why the woman, the church, is riding the beast. And that's described through chapters 17 and 18 in Revelation. Just another way of looking at it and seeing it, so you can better identify who and what this woman and beast are. Now, this one rises up out of the earth, which is a small group of people. The 13 colonies. Just a small group of people started this up. It has 2 horns because it has a 2-party system. I know there's others, but it's only been the 2 parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. And it comes up like a lamb because it comes up as a Christian nation, not based on the law of the sea, which the other beast is based on, the Roman law of the sea. It's based on common law, Christian law, so it comes up as a lamb. But that law has been basically hidden where no one really even knows about it, and we've been following Roman law partly after the Civil War, and then after the economic collapse in the early 1900s, the Great Depression, and then the first 2 world wars. America has switched over to a different law, and they're starting to speak as the dragon, as that first beast, where they're combining church and state ever so slowly here. And now since the Social Security numbers, we agree by contract to obey Roman law. And that's why we see what we see in politics and in the courtrooms where, people who seem to be guilty get away and people who don't seem to have much of an issue go to jail as if they might be innocent or it was a minor infraction where there's no actual victim and they go to prison. A lot of crazy shit, injustice, because we have switched our law. We're not any longer like the lamb, we are like the dragon. And he's exercising the power of the first beast before him. And we're slowly causing all those that dwell on the earth to worship that first beast. And by doing so, what America is doing is, through the fear of communism and what we have going on with Biden and whatnot through the Democrats, is a obvious just smear campaign of the left to make the left look so horrible and evil and twisted that someone like Trump actually looks good. Because before all this, everybody thought Trump was just a rich, pompous asshole. But then he started going for president, and he started saying some things that people wanted to say but were afraid to. All of a sudden, he looks like a hero. But behind the scenes, it's like wrestling. Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan are friends behind the scene. It's just their job to pretend to be enemies. And one of them makes the other one look good. Right? Like, in any wrestling match, the bad guy makes the good guy look good. Without that bad guy, he's just another wrestler. But when he stands up to that asshole everybody hates, all of a sudden he's amazing and he's a hero. And that's what they're doing with Trump. And he seems very pro-Catholic and very pro-Israel. And really gung-ho for the Christians because the Christians support him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first step, or if not the final step, to merge church and state, because I've been hearing a lot of the QAnons and the people on his side really think that's what they should do. Even though they believe in the freedom of religion, because of how bad the left is, they feel they should establish Christianity as the religion, and they're basically taking all the Protestant daughter harlots of the mother harlot, the Catholic Church, and they're combining it with the state to create the exact same beast, the exact same image of the harlots riding on the beast. And they're going to put it where if anybody doesn't worship the beast, so if you're not going to be a Protestant, and their idea of what a Protestant is, so it could be simple things in doctrine, like they believe Sabbath is Sunday instead of Saturday. That cuts out a bunch of Christians who believe it is Saturday, or that the Sabbath is a resting God. It doesn't matter which day. They just enforce something that breaks the first amendment of the Constitution, the freedom of religion. I'm thinking, and that's why I paused. I actually not sure if that's the First Amendment. It was like freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, and freedom of religion. It's up there, and it's important to have freedom of religion. But they will make laws enforcing their religion. So they're worried about the left breaking the Constitution, and then they're going to fling way over to the right, and they're going to break the Constitution. And they're going to justify it because of how crazy the left is and all the stuff they're doing. And this is when they're going to do this part here. Gave power to the image of the beast, that the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And don't you think that's what they would want to do to the left? So they're basically going to take it as a sign of you being on the left or an enemy of the state if you're not going to worship their idea of Christianity. So it's the same thing that happened during the Dark Ages with the Catholic Church and the Roman Empire. It's the same thing. is just with the Protestants. They are the daughter harlots. Because it talks about the Catholic Church being Babylon, the mother of harlots. The harlot that is the mother of harlots. And how are they harlots? Is because the church married the state instead of marrying God. And that's what we're seeing. And that's where I think this last part comes in, because it's not the first beast. After, with that reign of what some people think is literally 3.5 years, that time has already passed. This beast comes up after that deadly wound is healed, which happened after the so-called tribulation. And after this whole tribulation, which already has ended, this is when we get the mark of the beast. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or 666. And you see that it tells you to have wisdom and understanding and count the number of the beast, and it is number of a man. And it's a number of his name. So that's why you get a lot of people using what is called gematria, where it's the number of his name. So you look at his name, and in a lot of ancient languages like Hebrew and Greek and Latin, each letter is a number. In English, we have letters, and then we have a separate thing called numbers. But in those languages, they would use the letters to represent numbers. Such as if you looked in the Greek for this, it wouldn't have a numeric value. You see letters that actually equal 666. And that's why people take the name, because it says the number of his name, and let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. So it's a man's name adds up to 666. And that is going to be the mark. So that's something to think about there. I haven't done gematria on anybody who's supposedly the leaders, like Biden and Harris, or Trump and whatever that guy's name was, the vice president there. Pence, I think. That's how I remember, because it's Trump Pence, so it sounded like trumpets. But anyway, a lot of people are really gung-ho about restoring the republic and God bless America, when part of the plan is that that's exactly what they're going to do, because they're going to worship the beast. They're not going after God and having faith in God and crying out to God. The only reason why they cry out to God at all is to help the government, because the government is really their God. And they've been crying out to the government for everything they need, and now that the government is kind of turning on them, now they cry to God to fix their idol, so that their idol would do what they wanted to do again. When God wants you to get rid of that idol, because you don't want him to answer that prayer and fix this, because this is what it's going to turn into. He's like, oh, I took away your idol and you want it back? I'll give it back to you. And I'll make it how you think you want it to be. So anyway, thanks for watching, and take care. I'm gonna look for a picture here to use as a thumbnail. Figure I'll use this. Two horns like a lamb, buffalo representing America. Now, a lot of people know this, they see it. It's pretty much plain as day. If you read the Bible and you study it, you compare Daniel with Revelation, use a day for a year in prophecy, you do a little searching on the dates and what happened during these times, everything unfolds. That's why a world power like America can be found in the Bible. A large religion rising up like Islam can be found in the Bible. A lot of people think it just kind of like didn't acknowledge them and doesn't point them out, and how could it do that? So it must be fake. No, you're not getting into it. Apparently, it's for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, and I hope you got those, or you'll end up getting them. Hopefully, this video will open them. But anyway, thanks for watching and take care.